Well, how's everyone doing today? This is Bob Gums with the Concern Forum. And wow, today is Friday. The I think the last Friday in one of the last about we're right about at the last Friday of June. And I tell you, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely, I don't want to say perplexed, but I'm just wondering, what the hell, how much do certain parts of the powers that be, how badly are they trying to hurt the American people? I have a pet theory. You can take it or leave it. Theory is really an opinion that hasn't been proven, right? And you know what people say about opinions, okay? They're like one thing which everyone has. I put it to you like that. And that's basically where my opinion is at right now, okay? But I tell you, I see this. Oh, in case, well, by now, I'm quite sure by now you know what happened to a woman's right to manage her own health concerns. In many parts of the country, women have been reduced to being slaves, quite frankly. If you live in a state right now, which of course we're talking about the so-called red states, if you live in one of those places, for all practical intents and purposes, you're a slave, okay? You are no better than your sister was 150 years ago, okay? If you don't have the right to manage your own health concerns, then who are you as a human being, as a person, right? And this is why I really, what I would say to American women is this. Yes, darling, you have the right to be in any particular political party that you want, as long as that party is not doing things of an illegal nature, okay? The problem, women of America, that you have to understand is that right now, if you are a Republican, then you are part of a party that, especially over the last several years, have more and more have been engaging in things that are illegal. And as you have seen with these hearings on, January 6th Commission, a whole lot of illegal things have been going on. Even to the point, do you know that the RNC has some involvement in Donald Trump trying to overthrow the government? Yes, because that's what he was doing. When you're trying to stop a legitimate election, all right, that's an attempt to overthrow the government. He lost that election by about 8 million votes, okay? He went to the court something like about 61 times. 61 different courts told him, no, there was no steal. The only people that believe that Biden stole the election are people who, for their reasons, they want the election, basically, to have gone to Trump because they believe in the insanity that Trump was able to pull on this country for 4 years. Now, he had his turn. The American people took a look at him for 4 years, and they decided, no, we don't want to go that way. See? Now, who knows? In 2024, they might decide that Joe Biden or whoever the Democrat is might not be their cup of tea. But see, that is their decision to make, not these little state party hacks that you have in these red states, you see. And I would advise women, number one, to be careful before you put your name on the dotted line for the Republican Party. On that part alone, okay, you should have second and third thoughts about voting Republican. But now, getting to the nitty-gritty, these people have said that your husband, your boyfriend, your parents, they control your uterus. They control your womb. And if I can control your uterus, if I can control your womb, that's fine. I control you. Now, frankly, I don't believe that any real man wants to control a woman in that way, because that's nothing but slavery. And only a punk wants to be in a position where he can enslave people, especially someone that he's supposed to be in love with, i.e. husband, boyfriend, fathers, what have you. So I would really caution women, be careful what party you choose to hang out with. And on top of that, you have to ask yourself a question. This is the party, in the red states especially, this is the party that says you are free to have all the guns and ammo that you want. But if you're a woman, what happens in your womb, that's the business of the state. And remember now, this was the party that always used to talk about, we're tired of government getting in our lives. Well, what is more intrusive of the state than sticking their head up into your uterus? You see, this is what I don't understand women. I really don't. I don't understand that tells you when you're going to get pregnant, when you're going to make love, who you're going to make love to. I think that's damned intrusive, don't you? Now, I tell you quite frankly, there are a couple of things that need to be changed in this country. And I tell you why I put it like that. Because sometimes things happen. We can't see the reason. And don't worry, I'm not trying to get super religious on you, because that's another problem. I really have a problem with most organized religion, just like the founding fathers did, okay? And see, the problem with modern day Republicans / conservatives is the fact that they talk about the founding fathers, but to listen to them and hear them speak, you know right off the bat that they don't know a damn thing about the founding fathers. They don't know a damn.
I feel your pain.
He's never going to leave this building.
No, but I'm a little bit surprised. You know, usually I feel like I'm having fun.
And government, and how government should, under no circumstances, be so intrusive into our personal lives. All right, even to the point that there is nothing, as you know, one conservative is trying to make the point. Oh well, the Supreme Court can do what they want to do because there's nothing in the Constitution about abortion. Well, he's right on that point. There is nothing in the Constitution about abortion. And I agree with him on that one. He's right. And that's exactly why abortion is an issue that belongs to doctors and to women, period. Now, mark you have a lot of sick-ass, racist, narrow-minded, and ignorant people who use religion as their protection against the modern world. Also, their protection against any type of thought, especially scientific thought, against anything that is different from their own experience. And this whole idea of some damn holy crusade about abortions is ridiculous. And it's sad. This is the only country in the Western world where we have to go through this nonsense. Abortion is a health issue. It's not a moral issue. It is a health issue, period. And the best people to deal with health are doctors and the people who are dealing with the particular experience. And see, this is what happens when you let Republicans have their way. Also, and I know some people are going to get really hot at this one, but all these people, Green Party people, those of us on the far left and the left, who had all these misgivings about Hillary Clinton, are you happy now? I hope you're happy. Because you turned your backs on Hillary. And now you are, especially if you are a person of color or a woman of color, you have practically put yourself in slavery, in bondage. Okay? Closely akin to slavery. Because as I said at the beginning, if you can't control your own reproductive life, you know, what are you? Who are you? You're not a free, independent citizen in this country. And please, I don't want to hear this crap about the unborn. You're either born or you're not born. And it's just that simple. And no one is out here, we want everybody to be able to have an abortion in their 9th month of pregnancy. No. In the first place, any decent doctor is going to let you know constant any type of intrusive procedure, it's not good. It is not good for the human body. So this idea that you want to paint people who have abortions as just out for some kind of party favor, to say that you have to really be stupid. And unfortunately, as we have found out over the last 5 years, you have a lot of stupid-ass people in this country. And unfortunately, a large percentage of those stupid people happen to be Republican. Listen, one of the people I have a great amount of respect for, and who happens to be a Republican, oh God, I can't think of his name. The other Republican beside Miss Cheney, who's on that committee, he's former Air Force, which means he actually did something for the country, number one. And number two, this is the gentleman, not only has his wife been threatened, but his 5-month-old baby has been threatened. And see, his 5-month-old baby, guess what? She's here, all right? She is a live, happy little human being, 5 months of age, all right? And these right-wingers, and I say Republicans, because I guarantee you, if you rounded up all of these people making threats, if any of them are voters, or regular voters, I guarantee you, at least 8 out of 10 are Republican. Okay? So these Republicans making death threats to 5-month-old babies. You have to ask yourself, is this what you want in American politics? And something else that we have to understand, we're not dealing in politics anymore. Ever since the head honchos of the Republican Party embraced Donald Trump, politics went out the window, okay? What we are doing now, we are fighting a fascist criminal organization that used to be the Republican Party, okay? And frankly, it is the job of all good Americans to vote, to vote Democratic. And believe me, the Democrats are not perfect, okay? They're not perfect, but at least they they know what the country is supposed to stand for. They have fought for it, and they respect the law. Now, as you have seen with Donald Trump, the Republican Party of today does not have any respect for the law. And when the man says, well, this ain't your dad's Republican Party anymore, he's 100% right. This is not my pop's Republican Party. My dad was a Republican. And I never get tired of saying it. And I hope people, those who are tired of hearing it, you need to open your ears more. Because that just goes to show just what happened to this Republican Party. And there is a fight going on right now on planet Earth. There is a fight between the democracies and between the fascists, the dictatorships. I don't care if you're talking communists. I don't care if you're talking far right. It's all the same thing. It's about government dictating our very lives. And that is something that the Democratic Party here in America has never tried to do. They have fought for the rights of the people. And I think that's where the confusion comes in the minds of some folks. Because they might have fought on an issue pertaining to people of color, you have some jughead running out here saying, oh, well, yeah, that's the Democrats. They just are into that. What do they call that? Well, they call it racial politics for one thing, but they are identity politics, right? I keep asking, what the hell is that? Because you appeal to the Irish? You tell me a city, well, put it this way. You tell me an area where the local people running for office have not made appeals, for example, to the Irish, okay, or to the Italians, right? or in some cases to the Germans. It all, it depends. It depends on what's going on in history at that particular time, right? But that is not, that's not identity. Well, yeah, it is identity politics to a point. If somebody says, well, we're going to take away the rights of Lithuanians, for example, or Lithuanian Americans. Well, I would expect for Lithuanian Americans, for things that directly affect them, to start calling their local political leaders. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because this is America. None of us are indigenous to this continent, with the exception of the original indigenous people. So, I mean, what's the beef? Fighting for civil rights is wrong? I don't get that. If you happen to be a gay person and you feel that you're being discriminated against, what the hell is wrong with the Democratic Party fighting for you? What the hell is wrong with the Republican Party fighting for you, for that matter? See, this is what happens with language. And this is something the Republicans have been doing for some time now, right? Just like the word woke. And unfortunately, you have some very supposedly media-savvy people who should know better. That's just like with Bill Maher and his thing about, attacking the term woke, right? All he's doing, and I'm not saying that Bill Maher is a racist, okay? But what I am saying is that he has become a tool. And he needs to be aware of that. Because when he makes these constant comments about the LGBT community, he's feeding right into the hands of the bullies, okay, the potential murderers of people that want to attack LGBT people, right? Or some 18, 17-year-old trying to, or even 15 or 14-year-old who is trying to figure out who he is. And then this guy tells him that he's a terrible person because he feels a particular way in terms of his sexuality. So the kid bumps himself off. And yeah, Bill Maher, yeah, you are helping with that. I saw he did a show a few weeks ago that I was looking at. I couldn't believe what this guy was saying. And I was like, is this Bill Maher? Me and this cat practically grew up together. And look at him now. And see, that is the problems that we have here in America. The problem with the media is that not enough people, what did that guy say about your 15 minutes of fame? Not everyone is able to get that. Not everyone who has something important to say gets the opportunity to get their 15 minutes of fame. Because I tell you quite frankly, I would love to question Bill Maher and ask him what the hell does he have against the LGBT community? People are fighting for their lives in this country thanks to the Republican Party and their adoption of the right wing, right? They have basically turned organized religion into a circus. It's a joke. Really. It's a damn joke. And that's why, now if you think I'm full of it, well, guess what? Is religious, people who claim to be quote unquote religious or if part of any particular denomination, has that number going up? No, it's gone down. And that's why. Because religion in America has become nothing for the most part but a political tool. Now, am I saying that all people who are involved in churches or synagogues or Islamic temples, are they all just, tools? No, I'm not saying they are. But what I am saying is that the hypocrisy, especially with Christianity, the hypocrisy It's so obvious. They have run people out of the church. Who was it? I think it was it Peter or was it Paul? I think it was Paul that said something to the effect of, "It is because of the likes of you that people hate God," or words to that effect. And that's exactly what's happening here in America. Even the Pope has acknowledged that the American Catholic Church is, talking about Catholics now, that the American Catholic Church has some big problems with this hard right turn, and it's going to cost them. It is going to cost them. And the ironic thing is, Jesus spoke about kindness and love and taking care of the poor and feeding the hungry and ministering and helping the sick and not to murder each other. He never said a word about abortion. So obviously abortion was not one of his primary concerns. And I wish that we had some religious people that have the guts and the backbone to say that. But see, this is the problem in this country. And it's just like people now are trying to prep that snake in Florida to be the next Donald Trump. What's his name, DeSantis? Now, he's supposed to be Trump with a brain, okay? I don't think so. I think that he is just Trump with the ability to maybe conjugate a verb a little bit better than Donald can. But they are both of the same thing, hate and prejudice. And see, that turns me to something else also that needs to be spoken about. I am angry, I am saddened when I see what the right wing, with the Republican Party, what they were trying to do. Because I think that people are starting to see through that. And this business about you go out and you grab a few black people, Trump used to do that, have them sit in the front, right, so that the media can see, oh, well, they got blacks in the audience, right? And you find some strange black person to run for office. And you know who I'm talking about, that poor young boy down south. What's his name? Herschel Walker. As a black man, I think that, believe it or not, that's one of the greatest insults that the Republican Party has done towards black people in 2022. Herschel Walker, and it's not right to pick on people with disabilities, okay? Of course, nobody mentions the fact that Donald Trump is famous for attacking people with disabilities. I mean, that's Donald. You attack disabled people, you attack war widows. This is Trump, okay? I resent the fact that you take, because all you have to do is listen to Herschel Walker, okay? This poor guy, he needs help. Quite frankly. He truly does. And how should I put this? He doesn't know a damn thing. And it's not so much that, the media is always going to try and pick. No, the media is not picking at you. The media wants to know, what are you talking about? What do you feel about the issues? And Herschel refuses to tell him. And I should say, he refuses to tell us. And he might be running for a senator from Georgia, but that's it. He's running for a United States Senate seat, okay? So that means that what he says and does will affect us, all of us, in this entire country. And so we have a responsibility, we have an obligation to know what this man is talking about. And we cannot do it because he don't know what he's talking about. And this shows you the amount of disrespect that the Republican Party has for its base. Now, yeah, generally the Republican Party, there's no black base in the Republican Party per se, okay? Believe it or not, there used to be. As I said earlier, my family was a part of the base Republicans, okay? Well, nowadays, in every community, you have a few people who are, Republican, black people who are Republican, okay? But that has become lesser and lesser. What you have now, unfortunately, especially with black men, is a situation where black men now are basically independent. And by independent, what I mean is they're not quite sure how they feel about Democrats, and they think that Democrats basically are just, folks who are out for themselves, right? But they know the Republican Party is a racist organism. So therefore, they call themselves independent, which means many times they just don't vote. Now, that happened in 2016 with Hillary, right? And I remember I warned the Democratic Party here in Manhattan that we have some very bad danger signals and that we are not campaigning in the right areas. And I was right, unfortunately. And I hope the Democratic Party learns from that mistake. But see, this is the problem that the Democratic Party has. And what happened, in some respects, the Democrats were victims of our own success. Because you have, especially as time went on, the Democrats fighting for civil rights, open access to education, etc. And you have blacks who took advantage of that, and who also got into politics. See, that's what happened. You had this successful class of black people. Unfortunately, it was done in such a way that, I don't know, it's kind of a thing where you left a lot of people behind. And those are the people who are most likely to be victims of crime, health issues, etc. And that's who the Democratic Party has to reach out to. Not just black men, but men in general. And you also have a lot of men that feel, well, they're so worried about women that they have forgotten about black men, and to a certain extent, they have forgotten about white men and Latino men. And see, this is a problem that the Democratic Party has to grapple with. And see, we also, and I tell you quite frankly, I don't think that the way that Pelosi has been doing things with the party, I don't think it is the best to bring out our base. For example, this whole business about people in Congress, dealing in the stock market. Well, there's a simple answer to that. No. No. If you're running for Congress, you have no damn business being able to deal with the stock market, period. And the reason is obvious, because as a representative, you are purview, you're open to all kinds of machinations, the various laws that are made. You're one of the people that helps to make them. And even if a law is being made and being passed through that you don't agree with, you still know about it. You still have inside knowledge. All right? For example, let's talk about these military companies. By military, what I mean is the part of the military industrial complex, right? You know what jet fighters are going to be necessary. You know what these corporations like Raytheon, right? GM, all the military hardware, right? All the technical software. You know about that. You know what's going down because you've already had a couple of admirals and some generals come over to the Capitol and say, well, listen, we're going to need this. We want to have that. We don't need this. Oh, and yes, just so you know, our huge military bill, that's not because of the people in uniform, okay? It's not because of the generals and the admirals that we have such a huge military budget, okay? It's because of your friends in Congress, right? They are the ones that spend the money. All the military guys can do is ask. But it's that little congressman over there or that little senator over there, all right? They are the ones that say, okay, well, we're going to let the XXX Company Corporation, right? We need you because we agree with the Navy that they need this new type of destroyer or this new type of fighter aircraft that can be, used on aircraft carriers. You're going to build it. So then it becomes a thing about, how much, what's the bid, the highest bid, the lowest bid. Okay, that's going to affect that company's profile on the stock market. And see, people on Capitol Hill, they know all about that. Now, you're Manny Rodriguez, Billy Jackson, right? You guys, Manny's a cop. Billy might be a EMT guy. Okay, what the hell do they know about that? What do they know about the stocks? Well, they might know, or they might want to get involved in a little investing, but they're not going to have the inside detailed knowledge about, well, I'm going to get this stock because this company is going to be doing something with the F-18. F-18 is a jet fighter aircraft, right? The guy on Capitol Hill, he knows all about that. So yeah, he's going to, accordingly, he's going to get the particular stocks because he knows which stocks are going to take off, which stocks are going to be dogs. I mean, that's what the stock market is all about, really, knowledge. And people on Capitol Hill, they have that knowledge. So they have like an inside straight. Now, do you think that it's right? Remember now, Congress, those guys on Capitol Hill, who do they work for? Who do they work for? Right, they work for you. They're supposed to be working for you, okay? You, who has to clean offices at 1 o'clock in the morning because you need the extra income. Yeah, that congressperson is supposed to be working for you. Now, do you think it's right that the people who are supposed to be working for you are able to get all this inside knowledge and use it to their advantage and not yours? Does that sound fair? Does that sound right? Yeah, see? That's why I say when that whole issue first came up, what Pelosi should have just done, what she should have said at that time was no. Congress people and stocks, no good. Ain't having it. And that would end it. And then people would say, hey, well, look at those Democrats. They are really serious about looking out for the benefit of the American people. And see, that's the thing about Democrats that frightens me, because they never miss a chance to miss a chance. And that is the problem that we have now. And see, the Republicans, well, they're just slime, all right? Because they're going to be doing this, they're doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, don't try and compete with the Republicans for money and shady stuff with money. See, everybody has this idea about the Democrat guy in a back room in a big city, and this guy is just, kicking out the dough and collecting the graft and everything like that. Listen, and I'm going to tell you something. The Democrats do not hold a candle to the Republicans when it comes to dark money, backdoor dealings in the military-industrial complex and all that good stuff. Look, the Democrats, they lost that. They lost that edge somewhere back in the 50s. Okay? At the very least, the early 60s, right? The Republicans are the ones that do the money games. They do it much better than the Democrats. But see, when you talk about graft and corruption, everybody, okay, where's the Democrat? Where's the Democrat? What city is he or she from? Is it Chicago? If it's not Chicago, it has to be New York, right? And see, the Democrats, like big doofuses, we stand around, and this guy is constantly punching us. Left and right, bam, 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 bam. And we don't, it's like we are very clumsy when it comes to defending ourselves. Now, we're the guys that should win every fight, because generally speaking, the Democrats are always on the side of the angels. But the way that they play the game is so clumsy. That's why you got working class people voting for Republicans, unless they are basically, that they're so racist that there's just no hope for them, right? If that's not the case, those people should be voting Democrat. But see, the problem is, Democrats, as I said before, they're a victim of their own success, because all those programs, education programs, and what have you, and not just for people of color, but also for the poor white working classes, right? Well, guess what? A lot of people took advantage of those programs. They became more informed. They became more educated, okay? They were able to do well for themselves and look the part, and dress the part, and that's what happened. So a lot of times, what the Republicans will do, they'll look at that East Coast liberal punk. Look at him and his fancy suit and blah blah blah, and they'll paint themselves as, well, hey, I'm Farmer Joe, and watch me kill a deer at a half a mile, and they'll take out his, big machine gun to kill Bambi or some shit, right? And that's what happens. Republicans say, well, I identify with you. And see, the thing about it is, it's a lie. It is a damn lie. Because Republicans, they have no respect for their base, generally speaking. Now, you have a few Republicans, okay, that are really common people. And when I say common, I mean they're common, Remember, like your mom used to say about that woman lived down the block? Oh, well, she's just too common, right? Well, those are the common people, or I should say common political leadership that you get out of the Republican Party. And it's like Democrats, that's one of the things that really ticks me off about my party. It's like they don't get it, you know? You look like snobs, and you need to cut it out. Because my life, and this is another problem with the Democratic Party, they don't seem to understand. My life is in your hands. The life of my grandson, and he lives in one of those terrible red states. I won't mention which one, and I'm not saying that to say that all the people in the state that he lives in are terrible people. You have a lot of good people in the various red states. The problem is that they are basically almost like prisoners there. You know, why do you think Mississippi they have so few black politicians on the national level? Why isn't there an elected black person in the United States Senate out of one of those red states? Because of gerrymandering, the things that they do to the various districts. And the Democrats don't fight that. Because, see, unfortunately, once upon a time, the Democrats did deals with the Republicans in terms of, shaping districts and things like that. Okay? Now, I might look like I'm 100, but really, I haven't been here that long. So maybe there was a time when that might have been a good thing. The parties worked to shape the districts and that kind of bit. Listen, that went out with the 70s. Okay, that kind of working together type deal. The type of people you have in the Republican Party now, and Republicans will tell you this, the decent ones that are still left in the party will tell you this. You have a new type of Republican now that's more, I would say, what did they say at the time in the early 30s with Hitler? New man, okay? Well, this is your new Republican, right? And he don't give a crap. He don't give a crap about working together. He don't give a crap about other people except people who are just like him, okay? That's all that he cares about. He don't care a damn about religion, unless it's religion done in such a way that will perpetuate his beliefs and only his beliefs. Okay? And see, that's what we have now. And this is what people need to understand. This is what Democrats need to understand. That the person on the other side of the aisle doesn't give a damn how you feel, how you think, what you believe. They don't give a damn about what the founding fathers said, okay, what they wrote. They don't care about none of that stuff. All they care about is their power. All they care about, like I said before, are people who are like them, okay? And I tell you, when the Democrats understand that, they will win, and they will always win. And see, that is the reason why you have the situation in this country that you have now. Because people who vote Republican and who live in these so-called red states, they have been programmed to believe a few things. Number one, that women are basically evil. Now, I didn't say black women now. I said women in general. Women are basically evil, right? Black women are only a little more evil than white women, okay? Black men are essentially animals. Does it make a difference if you, what was the name of that kid? James Wilkins, all right, who's heading to Rikers Island on the drug charge? Or if you are Barack Obama? Does it make a difference? Okay? If you are black with a PhD, in their mind, you are just, it's like a trick. In other words, somebody teaches a gorilla how to speak French, okay? And no matter what happens, that gorilla in the Republican mind, you are always going to be that gorilla, okay? That's why Obama caught so much hell. You know, this guy got his master's degree, he's got a PhD, he's got this, you know. He's like, you know, I think, the brightest guy in the White House since JFK. It didn't make a damn bit of difference because he was still a nigger. And nigger men are gorillas. Now, is it possible for a Republican to change that view of black people and people of color in general? Oh, yeah. 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 But they have to recognize that there's a problem there. And see, that is today's Republican Party. And they're scared because they look around, and especially looking at working class whites, and they see it. Because working class whites, bit by bit, they turn around and they say, hey, you know, look, hey, that stuff the black guy is saying, it affects me too. And what he's saying, he's right. I am getting screwed. That's why Republicans, especially on the national level, well, on the national level and on the local level, they hate unions, right? They hate unions because unions have been an excellent way. I mean, especially since we stopped the draft, the unions, labor unions, have been an excellent way for people to work together, to get to know each other, right? And hey, you know what? This guy's got a daughter just like I do. Hey, hear him talk, his daughter's a pain in the ass just like mine is. You know, does his daughter plays on the same basketball team in school that my daughter plays on. And they start to say, hey, you know, the other guy, that black guy, he's okay. His life sucks just like mine does. And the Republicans, they hate that. You know? They really do. And see, the Democrats, they need to get back into that. You know, what are you doing in your neighborhood, in your community? What kind of town meetings that you're having? Now, up in the Bronx, especially like in the summer, they have like a barbecue. Well, what you need to do, you need to combine the barbecue with the town meeting. You know, that way people can learn something and they also get something good to eat. But see, that's the kind of stuff that the Democrats need to get back into so that people can't jerk us around and say, oh, well, they put themselves away from the people. You see what I'm saying? Now, the Republicans, they'll pop off like, and I have people like that nutty woman from North Carolina, or that other crazy guy in Congress from Texas, or what's her name, Boebert from Colorado. Now, I don't know what the hell kind of district she lives in that they would send this woman to Congress. And I don't care whether she had 2 abortions in life and whether she worked as an escort. I really don't care. What I do care about is the fact that you're going to try and prosecute other people for doing the same thing that apparently you did at one time. And that's the problem. But the Democratic Party needs to learn how to speak to working class people again. Not so much, and let me correct that. Not so much speak to working class people again, but to be with and identify with working class people. And we can do it. And when I say we, because I'm a registered Democrat, we can do it. We can damn sure do it. But we have to make that effort because you cannot leave it in the hands, you cannot leave this country in the hands of the Republican Party. They've already proven that. Listen to those committee meetings. They almost blew up our Constitution. And we can't let that happen again. And we have to show these guys that they need to sit down, they need to go to the showers for a while and get themselves together. We can't give them a chance to drive the car for a while, okay? Until we see if they have learned some kind of responsibility and that they're not running around threatening to kill people. And I'm going to leave it at that for right now. And folks, keep watching those committee meetings. Keep paying attention to what's going on. And be good to each other. Oh, and do me a favor. When you see me on YouTube, if you could, check the little box there, like it, don't like it, whatever, but just some kind of acknowledgement, I greatly appreciate it. And the folks here at the network would definitely appreciate it. So until next week, at the same time, same place, same channel, until then, this is the Concern Forum, Woke Avenue, signing off. Take care. Bye.